Baseball is dead.
Rest in peace.
It's been a great weekend of baseball. A lot of interesting matchups that happened over the weekend. I know, Joe, you were at the forefront of one of those. Jake, I can't say, maybe I guess the Red Sox and Phillies counts. I mean, the red hot Red Sox are the hottest team in baseball versus the defending National League champions is another one. The Mariners and Astros went toe-to-toe in Seattle. The St. Louis Cardinals finally ending their their nightmare losing streak. And I've got some fucking thoughts about Cardinals fans. Because I like the ones that listen to this podcast, but man, they've got some real pieces of shit in their fan base.
It's your fault. That's your fault.
Fine.
It's your fault.
Fine.
You breathed
Fine. We'll talk about it. We'll talk about it. The Tampa Bay Rays.
Your fault.
Having a series against the last place New York Yankees at the Trop. We also have to talk about the Mets. Dallas, you also have to address the Pittsburgh Pirates situation.
Not really.
Coming crashing back down to earth. And the Padres and Dodgers also went head-to-head over the weekend. A lot of fucking series to talk about that happened over the weekend. Where do you guys want to start? I'm gonna let Jay Hay point that out, please.
We just conveniently overlooking that the Oakland A's were going for the sweep. We're just gonna breeze right past that.
Yep.
Definitely.
Just
don't care.
A's win 2 in a row for the first time all year, ready to take down a sweep, and we just
nobody cares. Okay. Sure. No one cares. Jay Hay?
Get the music going. Get the Pirates of the Caribbean. Here we go.
Get the fuck yourself. That's not your
music.
7
straight.
Wow. Go ahead, Dallas.
I got nothing to say. No, you started with Jay Hay. No, I got nothing to say.
No, Dallas, go ahead.
Wow, 7 straight. Finally ran up against a pair of real teams in the Rays and Jays. And
fuck your face, real team.
Down goes the pirate ship. Listen, the good news is that they've only been outscored 44-9. During the 7.
Oh my God.
Yeah, did you realize it was that bad? Because if you didn't, it's 44-9 during the 7 game. Yeah. The good old 175 batting average, 595 team ERA combo. Not going to win many games like that, and they haven't. They've lost 7 straight.
Fuck.
So that's
just
Central,
a matter of
right
not
back
firing on a couple cylinders. That's all that is. That's
all
that
of
is.
the cylinders have stopped firing.
You take the spark plugs out, you clean them, throw them back in, and we're back to supercharged status. No worries. This is just a little.
I don't take any particular joy in the Pirates losing. I just think it's a fair and balanced podcast when we're going to ride the Pirates when they're. Yep, that's all I'm here for, is to be fair and balanced. And they've lost 7 straight. They've been one of the stories of the season, and now we have to cover them from both sides.
That's true. I mean, we covered the shit out of the Pittsburgh Pirates when they were red hot. It's only fair to talk about them now that they've lost 7 straight games, Dallas.
Look, it's fair, but this is nothing. This is nothing to go crazy over, right?
Do you think they're going to bounce back?
It's just a little skid. Why would they not bounce back? What do you?
Because they're the Pirates.
No, that doesn't mean anything. That doesn't mean anything to me.
Okay.
What you're seeing is growth, right? Look, you ever heard 2 steps forward, 1 step back, 2 steps forward, 1 step back. You get off to a hot start. I mean, shake yourself. Look at where they're chilling in the standings right now. They're
still in first place. I think that says more about the NL Central than it says anything else, but they're still in first place.
It should say a lot about the Pittsburgh Pirates, because what team is afforded the opportunity to lose 7 fucking games in a row and still keep their first place status? You have to be playing good baseball, not fluky baseball. You have to be playing good baseball.
That kind of just means the rest of the division sucks.
They do.
And that may be the case, but you know who's the best team out of all the shitty teams in that division? The Pirates. That's right. The Pirates. So I don't care. I don't care.
Fine.
Wow. Look at the group of shitty teams. Well, you want to know who's the best out of that group? The Buccos. The Buccos. So we're the best right now. And
I'm
I
glad.
have no
I'm happy for
doubt in my mind that this
7 straight games of 2 or fewer runs. No other 7 straight games of 2 or fewer runs. Think about that for a second. Nice viewing experience. No other team has more than 5 straight such games this season.
Oh.
You don't see that very often.
You really don't.
That's tough.
Yeah. Dallas, you can wait your turn.
We're just
no, Dallas, you can wait your turn. Joey,
we're gonna blow past the pitching staff they're facing. That's.
I mean, the Red Sox just wiped their ass.
Oh yeah,
with the Toronto Blue Jays.
Who are they facing? Who are they facing? Just the best team in Major League Baseball, who leads every fucking major statistical category.
That was 2 series ago.
Team.
That was 2 series ago.
It's all part of the run.
It's part of the losing streak, but they just.
But that's my point. That's my point. That's all part of the run.
Right,
it's
but
all
you
part
said
of
they just faced the best pitching staff. They faced the Blue Jays, who just got their fucking throats throttled by the Boston Red Sox at Fenway Park in 4 straight.
7 days. 7 days of facing dynamic.
I tried to soften up the Blue Jays for the Pirates. Didn't work, I guess, apparently. Nice little wake-up call for the Blue Jays. But Jesus Christ. Joseph, what have you got from this past weekend?
Overall, I would say this weekend was a great weekend for baseball. We had a lot of great action. If you look at the numbers, you had some teams overachieve. You had teams like the Braves win every game, except for one game.
So that's not every
against the Orioles. But honestly, I want to just shout out to the Orioles because the Orioles are looking tough as fuck. And they have this reliever, Cano. Yeah. I don't know how to say his first name. Yanir Cano. How many? 0 runs this year given up. He's one of 2 guys, I think, who still have that with over like 10 innings pitched. And he's like the new reliever this year. Every year there's at least one new reliever. It was like Class A last year or Duvall maybe the year before, but one guy who just can't give up a run, and it's him for the frickin' Orioles. They beat the Braves.
A lot of people saying World Series preview in that series.
Well, him and close, fucking Batista have been absolutely disgusting.
Yeah, Batista is a scary person, bro. Batista, if you ever play MLB The Show and face Batista, just try it. Oh my God, it's crazy, bro. Buy the game just to face him. He's like, how big is he? He's 6'8" in real life.
They should have put fucking Felix Bautista on the cover this year.
Dude, they didn't put him on the cover, but what they did to his character in MLB The Show is even better. They made his fucking shoulders like bigger than his fucking, I don't know, his whole body. His whole body is just, it's like a Lego, a big block looking at you. You can't hit him.
Cano, batters are 0 for 20 with 13 strikeouts off of his changeup this year. And he's running a 76% ground ball rate too. So basically he's like the perfect pitcher.
Oh, you know what? It looks like Baseball Reference has changed changed the metrics on Felix Bautista here, his measurements, because before it was a running joke. He was like, they had him listed at like 6'5", 220. And I was like, no, Batista is all of 7 foot.
Instead of
and
7,
he is
7'3",
300 pounds minimum. Like
ate those. Am I 100 miles
nobody
per
else
hour.
seeing this? It's
how do you hit
nasty.
that, bro?
It's funk.
Nobody does really anymore.
Yeah, makes sense because you're fucking 6'7". You're fucking throwing from 12 feet high, and it's 100 miles per hour.
From the clouds. From the clouds.
That's like that skills competition that they did in Japan with like Bonds and Giambi, and I forget the other guy that did it.
The guys
Maybe
throwing
it was,
from stilts?
No, they were throwing from fucking trampolines.
Oh yeah, not still trampoline. Yeah, Bonds still fucking took it deep
against Bonds. But yes, I have seen this, and I actually have something to say about that. Because Dallas, you just said Bonds took him deep, and that's what you might think from the video, but that's totally doctored. There's no way it was a home run.
No, Joey, that's real. It happened.
Watch the clip again. There's no fucking video. They cut the clip, so it's like a line drive, and then they cut the clip, and then they cut it, and then it's like, oh, it's over the fence. It's fake as fuck.
Yep.
Do you think that there is propaganda, American propaganda happening?
I don't know if America was involved with it. It was a Japanese program.
Why would Japan want their product to look inferior to baseball MLB superstars?
I don't know if there was really their product. It was a guy on a trampoline. I don't know if that's like Japan versus America. That's kind of a guy on a trampoline.
Yeah, they're like, hey, we got a guy on a trampoline that we think he can punch you out. Our guy versus your guy. What do you got?
Well, it's not like they had Yu Darvish on the trampoline. It was just a regular fucking guy on a trampoline. I don't think he was a pro. Or
Do we
anything.
know that? Do we know that?
We don't know. The whole thing is in Japanese. You don't know what the fuck anyone's saying.
Well, hey,
it's
Joe. It sounds like you're part of the Japanese propaganda machine right now. You're trying to just deduce what this athlete was or is on the trampoline. We don't know.
Yeah, we have no idea who that guy was.
He was a good athlete. I mean, throwing a strike from a trampoline like 30 feet in the air. Respect. He got Barry Bonds out.
Against Barry Bonds.
I'm actually defending him right now. They make it look like he got raked.
That's not what the video says.
Slipped up again.
That's also like that's also extremely dangerous to face Barry Bonds while you're on a trampoline. Like, at least if you're a pitcher, you can kind of like get out of the way, throw a hand up. If you're traveling through the air and coming down, he could just shatter your face, and like there's nothing you can do about it.
You're basically the human version of the fucking pigeon that gets absolutely annihilated by Randy Johnson.
It was a dove.
Except for you like throw the ball up yourself and then you fly in front. You're like, let's see if I can dodge this. Whack.
It was a dove.
Dove, whatever.
No, pigeons and doves are not the same thing.
They're related for sure.
Jake, are pigeons and doves the same thing?
Not even close.
Not even close to the same thing.
No, they're related.
Like, pigeons are like rats with wings, and doves are like
doves just stayed in the cocoon a little longer. That's all.
They're beautiful. They're beautiful.
Yeah, one's gray, one's white. It's a difference.
Yeah,
you think
huge difference.
Why so
Dallas,
the other.
What's your story from the weekend?
I was look. I've got a few storylines to hold on to here with the green and gold, and you put two ball games together. You're staring down the barrel of a sweep. Doesn't happen. But for the folks who listen to the podcast who are A's fans, it was a great weekend. It was a great weekend on the field watching these guys. We're watching them grow. That's what I'm excited about. And when we were 7 in a row, 8 in a row we had lost, I think, something like that. And you win 2 in a row. That's exciting. But what I like to see is we've got a guy hitting in the 2-hole right now named Ryan Noda, who is a Rule 5 rookie. And I believe at this point leads all rookies in on-base percentage. Dude plays great defense. He's a fantastic base runner. And the reason that has stood out is because we have another guy at the top of the lineup who's leading, I believe, all of baseball in stolen bases. If not all of baseball, American League, easily rookies, but I'm pretty sure it's all of baseball. And it matters because that guy has to get on base so he can steal bases. You got to have somebody hitting behind him who understands how to work those at bats. And in a day and age where guys haven't been asked to do these things readily throughout their career, like, hey, can you get to 0-1? Are you okay maybe even hitting with 2 strikes? If that means you've got a guy on second base, well, let's try to work through that. So learning how to do that is difficult in itself. Learning how to do that while you're being attacked by big league pitching for the first time in your life, that's not very easy to do either. So watching that happen and watching that unfold, you watch a guy's maturation and you take note of when you almost see it happening in real time, like right in front of you. And so that was something that I think really took another step over the weekend. The dude was on base 10 out of the 11 times going into the fucking third game of the series. Like, it just ridiculous shit. So really fun to watch. Really, really fun to watch.
You know, it's not fun to watch. St. Louis Cardinals baseball. It's just not fun.
Goldie, 3 pumps. Sorry about it.
Yeah. Well, so I was the one that allowed the St. Louis Cardinals fans to call in to the voicemails.
Bad move.
And Dallas was not here. Jay, Joseph, and I went through the voicemails, and we kind of made the comparison that like they're cosplaying losers because you have A's fans and White Sox fans who are in actual dire situations, and they should be mad at ownership and they should be saying fire everyone. And then the Cardinals fans are like, fire everyone and John Mozeliak, get him out of here and blah, blah, blah. So we were like, they've had literally 1 month of losing baseball, and they're already freaking out. They want everyone fired, and they want the team to get sold. And their counter to that was, we have one playoff win since 2014 or one series win or whatever the fuck it is. And it's like, but you still just come off as like the rich kid that is like, oh man, but like I didn't get a Benz for Christmas. You don't understand. Like, you don't understand my struggle. I asked for a Benz. I didn't get one. And
Kia.
Yeah, like that's like I get it, but they're like, oh, if you're a Red Sox fan, you're one to talk. Like if you had a start like this, like you'd be complaining too. Yeah, but I wouldn't be saying fire the manager. I wouldn't be saying sell the team. Like I am a Red Sox fan, so on that level, I get it more than you do. The Red Sox either are in the playoffs or they're in last place. Like I've sat like, yes, the Red Sox have had a lot of success, but I've also seen the Red Sox finish in last place multiple times over the course of the championship runs that they've had. So like trying to be like, oh, like you're a Red Sox fan, you don't understand. Like you win championships, you would complain too. Yeah, I've had to sit through fucking last place seasons a lot. So, go ahead, Jay.
No, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
But yeah, they were getting like, and the whole like best fans thing. Cardinals fans are some of the nastiest fucking fans that I've come across on Twitter. Like, it's like Yankee fans, I get it. Like I'm sticking my dick in the beehive there. And then Padres fans are assholes for the most part. And then Cardinals fans are fucking dickheads. I've never like we were making jokes about it. We weren't even like going in on them. We were just making light of the situation. Their reactions did not fit the punishment did not fit the crime, in my opinion, Jay.
The interactions that I had with people on Twitter afterwards were like perfect examples of how confused the fan base is. They were like, this guy was calling me a hater for what I was saying he's like, oh, Cardinals hater. I listened to you on the podcast, et cetera, et cetera. I'm like, I'm looking at your comments. I said they're boring. You said fire everybody associated with the team. Which one of us is being a hater? Which one of us is being like a fucking crazy person right now? Like I have a very bland take on your team. You're taking great offense to that while saying that the team fucking sucks and you hate them all. So it's like, which side of this are we going to be on? And it's like, you had people sending them like, here's our last 10 years of a lack of success. And it's like postseason. It's like, okay, if this is a complaint, it's what I said last time. If this is a complaint, then there are 20 to 25 teams in Major League Baseball that can lodge the same type of complaints. Like Cleveland can lodge the same type of complaints. And if that's what this is about, that's fine. But that's not when I thought threshold for voicemail, I had a certain expectation in mind. And that was my point. It's not that you don't have a right to complain about your team. It's that this is a fairly commonplace run of unfortunate turns of events that you had one bad April, you had one bad stretch in a span of fucking 2 decades. Who cares?
Yeah, it's just a group. It's a group that doesn't understand the pain of a lot of the other organizations or a lot of the other fan bases. That's what it is. That's the simple way to put it is you have not experienced the struggle. You have not experienced real pain that would actually conjure up the feelings of wanting your ownership to move on, move out, move along, whatever. That's what these other fan bases are saying is you haven't been there. It's like it's like getting a group of Amish people together in the 1800s and asking them to explain all the things they hate about technology. They can't. They don't have technology. They don't know what the fuck you're talking about. They're like, actually, life's pretty good, man. We got cows that do a lot of the work. We got ox that do a lot of the work. I got 17 children that do the rest of the work. Like technology is not really like, we can't help you there. I don't know what to say to you. And that's kind of where I would think Cardinals fans would understand where they're kind of like, you have experienced some pretty sustained success over a while, like on the whole, right?
And you know what's frustrating too is that, and I'm sure Jared was going to get into this eventually, but since we're here, like it feels like this poison brain stuff has now infiltrated the front office and like the managerial staff in terms of the decisions that they're making roster wise. Like I understand that Wilson Contreras is not the world's greatest defensive catcher, but here are a few other facts. Okay. He wasn't the world's greatest defensive catcher any season prior to this one, right? Okay. The numbers for the Cubs starting pitchers last season were not meaningfully different with Wilson Contreras behind the dish than they were with the other catchers that were on the team last year. They are worse this year for the Cardinals, but it's also an exceedingly small sample. Furthermore, like there are many, many team-wide issues for the Cardinals that we can point to. Like, has Wilson Contreras' defense or pitch calling or framing or whatever advanced the Cardinals' cause this year? Almost certainly not. But it is a fraction of the problem. Look at their team defense. They were an elite team defense last year by any metric you can possibly use. Defensive efficiency, defensive runs saved, outs above average. They were an elite team. This year, they are at best average, and defensive efficiency has them as the second worst defense at all of baseball. So like that has a lot more to do with why the Cardinals are not good than Wilson Contreras' pitch calling or defense.
And the Wilson Contreras thing is a prime example of a panic button. That is a prime example of a panic button. Oh, shit's not going great. We're taking stock of where the team is. Like, what do we say? Like everybody always says, somewhere between the first 30, 45 games or so, you're going to have a pretty good idea of what your team looks like. You've gone through the rotation multiple times. You can chalk a couple starts up to injury. You can chalk a couple starts up to not having your best stuff. And you're probably going to find a median there in somewhere. But to have the guy that you've just signed up for an extended period of time to be your catcher, to be your game caller, your staff leader, in 24 hours, take him from behind the plate, put him out in the outfield, and then bring him back from the outfield, back into just maybe DHing, but not catching. And that is panic mode. Oh my God, we're not really sure of what we're doing. We thought we had an answer. We thought we had contingencies in place. We don't have anything.
I don't remember an example of this clear of a panic move, like certainly this early in the season that I can remember. And it's also, to me, it feels like a naked example of scapegoating. I just like, where is the criticism of Nolan Arenado's absolutely awful play through the first month, 6 weeks of the season? Like I get that Contreras is the newcomer and that the pitching has been a problem, but like the offense is not carrying the load either, and Nolan Arenado is a huge part of that. It just kind of feels ugly to me, to be honest.
Well, isn't it what I'm hearing from what they're saying is that they have like a game plan. This is how the Cardinals pitchers pitch, and we like to throw XYZ fastballs up, whatever, this count, game plan, and that Contreras is like going off the script and calling shit they don't want him to call, and that's why they benched him. Is that right?
Well,
I have also heard the going off of script stuff.
Yeah, and that right there, this is where the front office could very well be saying, look, if you're not going to do this, this is what we'll do with you. Okay? So here's how close you are from never calling another fucking game. We'll put you in left field.
Yeah, it seems like it's more of like they're punishing one guy.
Yesterday. This is the quote from Sunday from John Denton on Twitter. When asked what Wilson Contreras needed to do to potentially be used in the outfield, a spot he played some with the Cubs, Cardinals manager Ollie Marmol said, quote, I think the question should be, what does Contreras need to do to get behind the plate, not playing the outfield?
So that right there is he's thinking we need more effort. We need to get on the same page. We need to have a game plan that's being carried into the game and executed, not one that's being discussed and then discarded on the way down to the field. That's what we need. So that's what that says. And straight up, you cannot be a part of that room, the pitchers and catchers room. You can't be a part of that room and deviate, because in a day and age where information is coming from the front office to that room, there's information being added to that. Then it has to be dissected. Then it has to be translated. And then it has to be given to the player. There's a lot of processes in place just to make sure we're all on the same page. And not until you become a veteran in this game and the dirt under your spikes allows you a voice in those meetings, do you start to have any input, right? Well, in today's game, you got young guys who are as much part of the rotation as veteran guys. So the idea of not having a voice, that's That's kind of gone now. I need your input. We need to talk about this. And if we're leaving the room and nobody is on the same page and Wilson's calling his own signs and disregarding what the game plan is from the front office or what we've all decided on, that is a horrible, horrible place to be. Horrible place to be, because now as a pitcher, you're second guessing the front office and their information. You're second guessing the catcher, and is he doing his homework? And if so, what book is he studying? Is he studying the front office book? Is he studying his own book? Do they know he's got his own book? Like, you don't want to have those questions in your mind when the count's 1-2. You got guys on second and third, and you just got thrown down a pitch that you're like, well, that's weird. I don't remember talking about that in the meeting.
It seems kind of like another Tyler O'Neill situation where the manager feels like one player isn't listening to him or whatever it is, and is punishing one guy. And like Jay has said, it kind of puts Ollie in like a tough situation where if it doesn't work, like he is on the fucking hot seat right now, because it seems like the whole clubhouse is against each other. Like, Dallas, you pitched, right? So do you think it could be like pitchers being like, I don't really like pitching to Contreras. Like, I don't like him behind the plate.
That could very easily be the case. Very easily. Very easily. I'll tell you straight up. My rookie year, I was up early. I was up first. And then Suzuki came behind me. Kurt Suzuki, who went on to have a 15-year career behind the plate. When he got there, I was the medium, right? I was the go-between from the veteran starters and some of the other guys in the bullpen, veteran dudes, and Zook. Like, what don't you like about him? What are they bitching about? Maybe these are some things I can pass down to him, because he came into a situation where he's got Jason fucking Kendall behind the plate. Like, that's who he's going to be backing up right now, / trying to take job, is Jason Kendall, a dude who everybody in the rotation, everybody in the clubhouse was more than willing to take a bullet for, right? And so now you got this kid who's just come up, is doing things a little different. It's not the same setup. It's not the same pitch calling. Sequencing is a little different. And that throws guys off. And my rookie year, I was joining a rotation at the time that was on a roll to set the record for like the most quality starts for a rotation at the time. So like, these dudes were G's, right? And whatever they're not happy about, we're going to pay attention to. We're going to listen to. So it was a very tough situation for me to be in, because Zook's my boy. And these guys are like, they're my new teammates. These are big leaguers. I want to learn from them, but I got them like, firing off opinions about what they do and don't like. And I'm like, fuck, that's tough. I don't know if I can really say that. Like,
Yeah. That's probably happening in the fucking Cardinals clubhouse. Like, people fuck with Contreras, and a lot of them probably love him. And they're like, why are you benching Contreras? That's dumb. Then some of the pitchers might be like, well, I'd rather pitch to this guy instead. So that's smart. So now seems like the boys aren't vibing well in St. Louis. So I think it's time to
this is why it's why the Ollie Marmol conversation early with Tyler O'Neill got so much scrutiny, I think, is because you can understand it from both sides, where if you feel like you're a manager who's not getting the reaction from your player and this is the last straw you have to pull, then you pull it. But you got to be aware of the spill that could come. And I think that's kind of what we're seeing.
There's only one man that can right the ship over there in St. Louis. And it's Bob Guerin.
See, this is the hot seat, baby.
Mm-hmm. That's what I'm saying. What do you all right, I'll do June 15th. Is Marmol still managing the St. Louis Cardinals by June 15th?
The Bob guarantee could end up being like the greatest moment in podcast history.
The Bob guarantee?
Yeah.
Like just the super mix we could put together of like your initial prediction and like all of the tracking of Bob Guerin's rise to Cardinals manager is just going to be so fucking electric.
If you guys keep saying this shit and putting it out there, all right, like this is how manifestation works at the lowest level, and then it just starts to gain. You're going to start to believe it, and that's the last fucking thing I need is for any one of you to start believing that. It's
I think there's only more. there's way more evidence that it's going to happen now than there was at the beginning of the season. So I'm not inclined to stop believing.
It's
right.
it's
St. Louis Cardinals manager of the year, Bob Guerin. Where were you? Where were you when Bob Guerin took over the St. Louis Cardinals and brought them back to the promised land?
manager
For the best.
If Cardinals social media uses guarantee, I want to fucking
You want to
holler
cut
at me.
the Bob guarantee.
Yep.
Wow. Wow.
That was
Yeah.
amazing.
It's coming.
No, you guys
June
should get him on
15th.
the pod.
I mean, listen.
We should.
Do you have his number? Or did you delete it?
Are
when
you saying
deleted
like
his
as an
job in
interview?
Oakland?
Are you saying as an interview guest or like as a permanent panel member? Because I feel like he's getting pretty close to just being part of the pod.
If there are baseball executives that listen to this
There
podcast,
There are.
they've got to be like, "Fuck, man!" Like, if we're not going good right now, we better fire our manager right now because we need to prevent Bob Guerin from going to the Cards.
Any other managers who want to get into the conversation who may not have been in the mix prior, like the main like just hit us up. We'll start talking.
Yeah. We create the
Managerial
narrative.
blockade.
Shout
right
out
now.
my boy Eric Wedge.
Mm-hmm.
Bring Wedgie back.
Wedgie.
Local
Wedgie.
guy. Yep. The baseball season's in full swing. Whether you're rooting for the home team or betting on your favorite player, DraftKings Sportsbook has got you covered for all the season's action. Right now, new customers can place a $5 bet and get $150 in bonus bets instantly. Plus, everyone can hit one out of the park with DraftKings stepped-up same-game parlays. Boost your winnings with each leg that you add up to 100%. I think today we're doing the baseball is dead parlay. Like we're each going to pick one leg of the parlay. We should probably get thinking on that because we haven't made our picks yet. One
I'm
each.
so locked in.
You've got a pick, Jay?
Fuck yeah.
Okay. Dallas, have you thought about it?
I mean, I'm thinking about some serious value is what I'm thinking about.
I'm thinking that you can't tank the parlay by betting on the A's.
Why would I be considered the tank there?
This is like a relay race where we either all win or we all lose.
Yeah,
and
no,
Dallas is like, I think I'm gonna go back to my apartment right now and I'm gonna go get my cement running shoes because I feel really comfortable in those. I feel you know what, brother?
Look,
I feel like I'm just gonna carry some 35-pound dumbbells as I run. Like,
we're gonna have to. We're
why are you gonna do that
rules
to
here.
us?
We're gonna have to create some rules here. You can't.
What?
If you can't get through the fucking impression without laughing at yourself, you can't use the impression anymore.
Well, I mean, that's what you're doing. That's what you're doing to us. Why would you bet on the A's when it's like a 4? If we include Jake, it's a 5-leg parlay, and you're just gonna put the A's in there? Why?
Why not? It's money to win.
Better
No,
be
it's not.
Ruiz to get a steal.
Yeah.
So why can't it be that way? Why can't it be Ruiz to steal a bag? Why can't it be Ryan Noah to 1.5 bases? Why can't it be
fine? You better win. You better win. That's all I'm gonna say. Join the big league action now on DraftKings Sportsbook. Download the app and sign up with the promo code Jared, Jared. New customers can bet just $5 on any bet and get $150 in bonus bets instantly only at the DraftKings Sportsbook with the promo code Jared. Okay. Yeah, there we did the stories. You know, we can still hit on O's Braves a little bit, but I kind of want to start this segment with Padres Dodgers. Padres Dodgers, Ravi had the balls to ask Mookie Betts what was the bigger rivalry between Padres Dodgers and Red Sox Yankees. Outrageous question to even put that out into the universe.
Not if you know Ravi. Not if you know. That's what we call a setter.
Yeah, well, I mean, Mookie is such like a PR guy now. Like he doesn't want to go and say the wrong thing because he's locked into play for the answer is Red Sox Yankees, and Mookie was just like, well, could go either way. Like, no, dude, like Padres Dodgers isn't even fucking close. But
no.
It's been appointment television since 2020, and I think we kind of hyped it up a lot going into the weekend in terms of the larger picture in the NL West because the Padres have underachieved. The Dodgers had a slow start and then they got hot. Could the Padres cool them off? Could this be the turning point where the Padres actually turn into the team that they're supposed to be, the team that everyone thought that they were going to be going into this year? And no, the answer is no. That's not what happened. They won the first game, lost the next two, and they're a game above 500. They have a negative run differential, and they're in third place in the division. That was incredibly disappointing. Like I was disappointed watching Padres Dodgers this weekend. I thought, not that like I have any rooting interest, because when you talk about the Dodgers and the Padres, it's like watching two trust fund babies have a slap fight at the country club. Like there's no one out there that loves these two teams unless you're a fan. Like there's like the Braves, for example. I love the Braves. I'm a Red Sox fan, but I love watching the Braves. But with the Padres and Dodgers, it's literally that. It's two trust fund babies having a slap fight at the country club. No one outside of those markets is like, you know what? Good for those like little Dodgers that could. They finally they're playing the way that they should. Or if it's the Padres that took 2 out of 3 this weekend, no one's sitting there being like, oh yeah, like look at the underdog Padres are finally giving a run to Big Brother there. But all that being said, it's still the Dodgers. And I think Jay Hay had the point last week about I bought into the hype, the Padres hype. I feel like an idiot for not going with the Dodgers to win the NL West again. Is anyone sitting here on May 8th thinking the Padres are never going to become this essentially a threat to the Dodgers title? Like, is that, are they, do they pose a threat? Do they get to 95 wins? Like what the pace that they're on? No, the answer is no. But when, if ever, do they get on this run of, they won 15 out of 17 or 25 out of 31? Like, when do we see that? Do we see that?
Well, it feels like the Padres are the criminals in the Scooby-Doo cartoon, and they just get caught every time. And it's the Dodgers who are always the ones pulling the mask off the Padres. Like, you're not who you thought you were. Remember who we are? We're the ones who win every time. We're the ones who solve the crime every time. And if it weren't for us pesky kids and our dog, you'd be in the division leading seat. And that's just not the case because, well, we're pesky kids and we got our dog. He's pretty good at sniffing this shit out. That's just how the Dodgers machine continues to run. Even when you're losing guys, even when injuries come, they just continue to step up. It just continues to happen. And the Padres, you look at them on paper, and I think the overwhelming sense of, am I stupid? Comes from looking at the stars on the page, and you're going, there's no fucking way this team cannot make noise. There's no way this team doesn't make a run for the division. How does this team not? And that's where I think the feeling of, am I just that dumb? Like, do I just need to go with the Dodgers every time?
I also think, like, just stepping back about the star laden thing. Like, if Max Muncy is back to being kind of like that guy that he was prior to last season, then I actually think there isn't much of a difference between the star caliber. Like, if you're just looking at production, there's not really a difference between these two teams because we always talk about Tatis and Machado and Soto and Bogarts. Okay. Those are all high profile acquisitions, right? Or in the case of Tatis, mostly homegrown. But with the Dodgers, I mean, you still have Freddie Freeman, you still have Mookie Betts, you have a resurgent Max Muncy who's playing as well as anybody that we're talking about, and you have Will Smith. And like, I get that the names aren't as high wattage, but in terms of what they have produced over the last 2, 3, whatever kind of time period breakdown you want to use, the Dodgers players are just as good. And they don't have they have more organizational depth still. That's never changed, even with the promotions and some of the Dodgers trades and stuff like that. Like, there's still players like Outman and Vargas. There you go.
That's what I was just going to say. You need to holler at James Outman.
Yeah, who can come up and contribute. And what percentage of Outman's contributions so far this year are real? I don't know. but it almost doesn't matter because they've gotten 6 weeks of like down ballot MVP or all-star level production out of a guy that you had no expectation of getting that out of. And that matters when we're talking about who's going to win this division, or why are the Dodgers, 4.5 games up on the Padres? Why did they take 2 of 3 this weekend?
Doesn't Outman?
I just think me specifically, I've overestimated the star power gap, which doesn't exist. And as Joey pointed out, or Joey accurately noted at the beginning of the year, the Dodgers still have the better organizational depth for sure, even if it's not as good of a Dodgers team as it used to be.
Yeah, James Outman, if I'm not mistaken, he might have the highest OPS on the team, or like second or third OPS on the team. Like, so that's production coming from a place that you're like, well, where are we going to fill this gap?
Who was it? Was that Joe that pointed out last week about how like Outman was their 7th best prospect
14th.
or something, and he just 14th.
It's hilarious.
Did you watch the game last night? Fucking the Padres had a 2-1 lead. It always looks like a party in San Diego. Dodgers fans showed up big time though.
Yeah.
You could hear them. They were super loud. And Mookie Betts hits a home run off of Hader and to tie it, and then Outman wins it. It's like you just can't count out the Dodgers. You go back to last postseason though. That was a major haymaker that the Padres threw in this quote unquote rivalry, which it is a rivalry. That I don't know.
Is it though?
I feel like
it is and it isn't.
Yeah,
right?
It is right. Like the fucking Padres beat them in the playoffs last year.
It's supposed to be a rivalry, I think.
It is.
I think
it is a rivalry. Like the Dodgers have the division leg up, but the Padres beat them in a playoff series last year. Like that counts.
It definitely counts. It feels like we're still waiting for the full maturation of the rivalry to me.
Yeah, like we need
it's filling a void at a time and a place in this sport where rivalries are not at their peak, right? And everybody wants this to be great, and I get that they have been the 2 best teams in this division. Jared, they played in the postseason. That for sure fucking matters. But like the Dodgers have won 38 of 58 games since 2020, and they're 29-16 in the matchup. That includes the postseason since 21. So there's no split of years where this has actually been super, super competitive. I just like,
No.
Yeah, but I mean,
that's why I say it's supposed
in the playoffs last year. That probably doesn't that erase everything if they beat them in the playoffs last year?
No, it doesn't erase everything. But I think we're
waiting on to win the World Series, maybe.
What you want is these teams over maybe a 5-year period to be the reason that the other doesn't make the postseason, or the reason that the other team isn't going to the fucking World Series. That's what you want to see, and that's not what's happened. Is not one team. It's been the Dodgers preventing the Padres.
We need to see that one year where they're both 95+ win teams. Like we need to see like kind of what we saw with the fucking Dodgers and the Giants that one year. Mm-hmm. No one asked for that, but like that should have been Dodgers Padres, and then we would have had the more, when both teams are at their best going head to head. That's what we've been waiting for. We haven't seen that yet. We haven't seen both teams being like, hey,
that Dodgers Giants, that was an insane run. 40 fucking days, 40 days. They played baseball, and 1 game worth of separation occurred over a 40-day period. Noah boarded up every fucking giraffe, every lion, every fucking monkey, put them on the boat, and for 40 fucking days, at the end of it, 1 game separated the Giants and the Dodgers.
And part of what made the Giants-Dodgers rivalry compelling, at least to me, was that not only were both of the teams very good, but it seemed like in most seasons, the Dodgers were the better team, or supposed to be the better team, or won more regular season games, and then the Giants got to the postseason and actually brought home the World Series that were supposed to be the Dodgers, right? So they were playing roles in the rivalry where you're like, okay, one of these is like, the big bad Dodgers who are supposed to be like the high spending team, and the other team's the one who wins the World Series and like rises to the occasion when it really matters. And I just feel like we keep wanting this to be more than it has been so far.
Yes.
And it's not to say that it can't be, because God, I mean, the people are in place for it to be so. But, and maybe we look back on like this stretch as just the beginning, where they were just getting warmed up in the rivalry, and maybe it features some of these players, and maybe it doesn't 5 or 6 years down the line. But I just hope this isn't the peak of the rivalry, and that the Padres kind of fade away after this brief run, because I don't think it's given us what we've expected.
We got a lot of time left. I mean, the Padres are going to have this roster forever. And every time they play each other, it's sold out. These fans, they give a fuck, and it's always beat LA, beat LA. In 2020, they were brawling like every time they played. I wish that was still going on. It was a shame there was no one in the crowd.
Why do I not remember that?
They were fighting all the time.
Oh,
remember the playoffs?
Trent Grisham and Kershaw.
And then in the playoffs, they came after it. And if you're looking at that, I mean, they're tied in the playoffs in terms of since 2020. Dodgers won 1, Padres won 1. This whole series was a great series. Close games.
Padres fans,
for sure.
Padres fans feel like they should be a lot more competitive than it has been, and I agree with that, and that's why I agree with what Jay has said. We feel the same way. I said I think it wants to be a rivalry. Jay said we're kind of waiting for it to be this rivalry that we want to see. Don't know if it has been that yet.
It's matured backwards almost. Like it was at its peak at the very beginning.
Yes.
And it's since fizzled despite the talent getting greater.
Well, the only reason
you would think that more talent equals more competition equals more, I guess, tension between the two.
Yeah.
But that hasn't been the case.
I'm not saying you have to win the division for it to be a rivalry, but the Padres have not won the division since 2006. Like, mix in one of those. Let's try that.
Mm-hmm.
That would, and just to go back to the depth thing too, because like the Padres' offensive depth and star power is still much more hypothetical than like playing out on paper. They have 2 guys who have gotten 60 or more at bats who have an OPS of 800 or better. The Dodgers have 7 of those guys. It's not even close right now. Like if Machado's not hitting and Soto's not hitting, then that's like 50% of your star wattage.
Yeah. I think the best example to compare the Dodgers to the Padres is pull up Shelby Miller's stats on the Dodgers right now. He's got
Miller.
a 1.2 ERA. They just picked him up. No one knew he was still playing. He's got a 1.2.
Shelby Miller,
yes.
Fucking D-back Shelby, like Dansby Swanson, Shelby Miller
coming out of the pen for the fucking Dodgers. Dealing.
What?
They
Opponents are hitting under
good.
100.
And then
bro, Shelby Miller like broke his fucking hand by throwing
it on
like
the ground.
pitching on the mound, and then like, his delivery, he just like scuffed his own hand on the mound like that. Is he still throwing like that? Is his mechanics the same way?
No idea.
Still with his right arm.
Yeah, still righty.
But
Jason Hayward has a higher OPS than any player on the Padres.
There you go.
Jason Hayward.
There you go.
The J. Hay kid of Baines meter fame.
Oh my God.
That's the difference. Then you get Juan Soto. You trade everybody for Juan Soto, the best player ever, and he's got like a 750 OPS. It's the difference between the Padres and the Dodgers.
Well, you could just go star for star, or guys that you would label stars. Like you could go, like what do you want to do? You want to Mookie and Soto? Let them cancel each other out. You want to go Xander and Freddie? Let them cancel each other out. Like you could do that and then see where the production is coming from.
None of their regular players on both teams are hitting over 300. The
Max
highest
Muncy's
OPS,
hitting fucking 200, but he's got 12 bombs.
Max Muncy has the highest OPS between these two teams regulars. It's 969. Then Outman 952. Then Bogarts 843. Then Freeman 842. Then Mookie 829. Then Soto 779. Jake Cronenworth 758. Like where the fuck? Like Manny Machado has the worst OPS amongst all the qualified players.
Yeah, he's been sneaky terrible.
Well, remember, if you're a Padre fan, you're not worried, and you know why you're not worried.
Why?
For the same reason that Manny's not worried, because he's Manny Machado, and you're the San Diego fucking Padres.
So I wouldn't be worried about Machado, but I would be worried about our ability to catch the Dodgers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Especially if you're just going to keep sleeping on those opportunities to gain ground on them. losing those series.
Jay.
If you set the qualifier to 90 plate appearances, that includes Will Smith. So it's like, here are the OPS rankings: Dodgers, 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 Padres, Dodgers, 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 Padres, Padres, Dodgers. like there's just, I don't know. I think that we greatly underestimated how good the Dodgers still were and are.
I think we also might have underestimated Bob Guerin's influence on Bob Melvin's success.
That's true. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Part of me wants to believe the Padres ownership is just going to find themselves somewhere around the All-Star break, maybe not right where they'd want to be, and go, you know what? Fuck it. Who's out there? Who do we want to go get?
Shohei Ohtani.
Jesus. I mean,
it's a problem. What's left in the farm?
Bogarts is on an island, man. He's trying to do everything he can for the Padres, but that team stinks.
Tatis is doing good. Shut up. I called it, and he had a great week. Not as great as I said, but still a great week. It was he's
super flexible. There were a couple of plays last night where he like slid into second base and he had a leg up here by his head. The other leg's over there. He just did like a full split. He's fine. He made like a sliding catch where he just kind of like pretzeled himself. He's fine. Our boy, Eduardo Pérez, came under fire last night. Did you see this?
What?
Yeah.
That's what a superstar looks like, Nando. That's what a superstar looks like, Nando.
So he said that about Mookie Betts and like singled out Fernando Tatis Jr. I haven't heard this clip, but I guess he apologized for it on MLB Network Radio.
Comment yesterday in the game that we're going to cover first, because it was a heck of a game, and I was broadcasting last night. And as soon as I said it, I cringed. And for those of you that weren't watching Sunday Night Baseball, Mookie Betts hits a home run, right? We're going to cover all of this in the top of the hour right now. Immediately, I was going to say, this is what superstars look like. That's what I was going to say. But you get it wasn't that I was carried away in the moment. It's that you look at the screen because you're trying to see and follow where the director is going as well. By coincidence, it popped up that it was Fernando Tatis Jr. that popped up on the screen. It could have been anyone else. It could have been Jake Cronenworth. It could have been Manny Machado.
I know exactly
it could
what
have been
happened.
anyone. It could have been Dave Roberts. And I said, Nando, this is what superstars look like. And it sounded, and I cringed a little bit, and I said, did it sound bad or not? You start running all these things through your mind.
Right.
And this is the human side because it's all live. I own it 100% because I saw the replay later on when I got here, and I cringed, and I'm going, dang, that sounded terrible. So not only am I going to, and this is the first time I talk about it now, but this is one that I'll have to also apologize to the player.
You don't have to apologize. I mean, like it comes off like, hey, Fernando, like this is what a real superstar looks like. You're not one. But Eduardo Pérez knows baseball. He knows that Fernando Tatis Jr. is a superstar. I get that it doesn't come off great, but of course he didn't fucking mean it like that.
That's what we call the nuance of live television.
Well, and also like to say you don't have to apologize. I agree, but that's also why Eduardo is Eduardo, because he will proactively apologize for something like that where not everybody would, and that's why he has the relationships he does in the game, and is like the most beloved person I've ever met.
Exactly right. Exactly right. He knew, like he's explaining, like, look, man, this is fucking live TV. Like what I was saying, what you saw, those two things, met at an intersection, and I can see how it came across. And he's like, no, that's not the message I would like to deliver. I see how it sounded. And to Jay's point, that's why you love Eddie. That's why I love Eddie. Yeah, but yeah. A nothing burger, but still wanted to make sure that people know that he's not trying to disparage anybody. Like Eddie thinks the same way about the game that we do. You want to make sure that guys know, or people know, but you want to make sure that fans know how good these people are, how good these players are, how hard this game is, and he wants you to celebrate them, and he wants you to love them. He's also a very energetic dude, very excitable dude. Like when you get him happy and you get him going, Eddie's fucking great, man. He's great. And I'll always say this too. Just remember how hard it must be to articulate thoughts on the fly like that in your second language.
Yeah.
Just remember that. Just always remember that. Always.
I do it every day. I mean, people don't
and
really
the timing,
give me credit for being Dominican and being able, like, English is my second language.
Yeah. I mean, any English speaker, Spanish speaker, but I always try to remind folks of that too. Like on the fly, trying to translate and process and blah, blah, blah. Like there must be a lot going on in there.
Joseph, any big takeaways from O's Braves outside of, you've got two, I guess, pretty evenly matched offenses. Like, people have been sleeping on just how good the Baltimore Orioles offense has been this year. We've seen some hot starts from teams that, like the Pittsburgh Pirates, the aforementioned Pittsburgh Pirates, where maybe that's not exactly sustainable. But then we talk about the Baltimore Orioles, a team that you go back to May of last year, and it is very much sustainable. And you look at their offense right now coming into play today, Monday, there are only 3 teams that have averaged more runs per game than the Baltimore Orioles. That would be the Texas Rangers leading the way, the Tampa Bay Rays, and then, Jake?
The Boston Red Sox.
The Boston Red Sox are third. Then you have the Orioles fourth, and then the Atlanta Braves are sixth. 5.37 runs per game, the Braves, and then you have 5.47 for the Baltimore Orioles. So, but for two teams that were highlighting their offenses, we saw some great pitching in this series. Max Fried came into his start, I believe, on Friday with like a half a run ERA, but got taken to the woodshed by the Baltimore Orioles offense. But the rest of the series, I mean, the whole series, close games, great pitching. You saw the offense. You saw a walk-off on Sunday. What stood out to you, Joey, between the Baltimore Orioles and Atlanta Braves over the weekend?
Well, just looking at it, I would say this, like, I don't know if we're saying this, but I was listening to like the game on the radio for like 10 minutes, and like the Braves announcers were like, this O's team, they really have something to prove. You go against any team, they're going to try their hardest. They're acting like the O's are like a shit team that are like have a good record early, and who knows, maybe they can make the playoffs. I don't look at the O's that way anymore. They seem like a legit playoff team. I think we all agree on that. I think most people would. They're a good team for sure. The Braves, though, are a better team by far. And this was a series that made you kind of think, damn, are they really going to be better than they already have? Because Ozuna, I mean, that guy, wasn't even on the team all year and still played. So you do the math, that's bad for the team. If I isn't playing but is playing, he had like 3 home runs. He's breaking out. Like if Ozuna starts playing good for the Braves, Michael Harris started playing good. He's been hurt pretty much the whole year. He's already hitting. He's getting very unlucky, but walked it off yesterday. And then you have Bryce Elder has a 1.15 ERA or some bullshit. It's like a new every year the Braves have a new rookie. I don't think he's technically a rookie, but a new young pitcher who just is a beast. And he's that guy this year. And Iglesias, he returned. So now we have a closer. It's almost boring liking the Braves. It really is. It's kind of like I don't even feel like watching that much anymore. I still do because it's my job, but like I don't even feel like watching until a couple months. Like we got swept by the fucking Astros, and I couldn't even get mad. It was like whatever, we'll win the next 10 games.
That was a good sweep.
We did pretty much.
I think we're all on the same page that the Braves are awesome. Let me ask a negative question though. How much longer is the rope for Marcell Ozuna to suck before they just part ways?
Like, that's a great question because it's been really fucking long. This
is the 3rd season. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, Ozuna's really has been terrible. But like, if you would have asked me this question last week, it would have been more because he's had a great week. Like, he's starting to play really well.
Yeah.
The fact that they didn't cut him like through the first month and a half, where I think he had like 4 hits through the first month, and they didn't cut him, even with Michael Harris coming back with another outfielder, they sent a guy down and they kept Ozuna. I think they're going to keep Ozuna no matter what.
Well, he's still got another year on that deal,
yeah.
Right? With an option, a team option.
I don't know, but at least one more year after this.
Yeah, he's not good. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, look, the Braves have clearly made it known that they don't look. If he's playing well, he will obviously be in the lineup, regardless of anything else. If he's playing well, we don't care what's going on outside of the white lines. If he's playing well, he will play baseball for us.
$18 million next year and a $16 million club option for 25 with a $1 million buyout.
Yeah, I think Joey's right that if it hasn't happened, maybe it's not going to at this point. But
look, he's got half as many homers
by
as
a
Max
guy
Muncy
who was
does.
both bad, who was bad both on and off the field for a longer period of time than I can recall. Like, I just feel like most people just get cut bait.
Well, here's the thing with Ozuna.
It doesn't really matter. The Braves are awesome. It was just an aside.
Yeah, but the thing with Ozuna is like his first month of the season was probably one of the worst months that I've ever watched. Like it was terrible. Like he couldn't fucking get a hit. But here's the thing about Ozuna, and like he has this terrible reputation.
What's he hitting right now? 150?
Yeah, but his OPS is 641, which isn't great. It was just bad, but it's compared to what he was. Like if you watched it, you'd be surprised that it's that high. He hits.
I mean, it was literally.
That's why I said he's got half as many homers
as
Muncy does right now.
Yeah, that's what he does. He hits.
It was
bombs
397 at the end of April.
Yeah, so he's got 6 home runs.
397 OPS.
Yeah, at the end of April. It was like 5 games ago. Joey's not kidding. Like his last 6 games have almost doubled his OPS.
And I think if you look at the stat, I was looking at the stats. I think his expected stat, like he's underperforming, he's getting unlucky. But this is the point I was like trying to make.
Oh yeah, I mean, can you hit 085 and get fucking lucky?
No.
I would hope he's getting unlucky.
No, he's getting a little lucky. And everyone hates Ozuna, and for a lot of good reasons why people hate Ozuna. Braves fans don't like Ozuna, but
it's a hard 085.
He's hitting it hard, bro. Listen, when he hit,
I wouldn't even be able to continue the conversation.
No. His BABIP's just super. It's a good 085. His BABIP.
Well, that's what the stats said, and it's coming true because now he's getting hot. And what I've been trying to say for the past fucking 3 minutes.
The fucking shift, Poppy, the shift. let me. I got to tell you something. They've
as much as people fucking hate Ozuna, I get the impression that people inside the Braves organization, people inside the clubhouse, the broadcasters who talk about him, like the guy. Like he seems like he actually has a decent reputation inside the clubhouse.
Quick little bow to put on this one as far as how bad Ozuna's March and April was. There have been thousands of examples of players getting 60 or more plate appearances in the month of March and April. In fact, there have been over 12,000 such examples in baseball history. His batting average in April of 085 is the 3rd worst ever. The only ones of 12,000. The only ones worse are 1981 Don Baylor, who hit 062, and 1998 Brady Anderson, who went 4 of 52. 4 of 52. So that was 2 years after the 50 home run year.
So 3rd worst hitter of all time, but they'll never cut him. He's a Brave for life.
They're not cutting him. They got a spot.
He's a Brave for life.
And then that's also
did Brady Anderson ever just like own it?
Did what?
Did Brady Anderson ever own it? Like, yeah, that was a little obvious. Like, my bad.
Not that I'm aware of.
I know that like, there were pictures of him walking around. Yeah, like Camden Yards. He was just walking around, just like absolutely jacked out of his mind. He had like veins on top of veins, and it's like, all right, buddy, we get it. Like, you did the thing. Poor Brady Anderson.
I don't need him to admit it. I don't need him to admit it. We're all on the same page, and it's all good.
It is all good. You know what else is all good? Blue Moon. Because some beers can say that they're brewed for baseball, but only Blue Moon is brewed by baseball. Beer and baseball just go together. And no beer goes better than the one that was literally born in a ballpark. Blue Moon was created at Coors Field in Denver, Colorado. It's the natural choice for opening day and all season long. I had plenty of Blue Moons this past weekend enjoying some Red Sox Phillies baseball, but I was also taking in a lot of other series, and we're going to talk about some of those series coming up. But I was drinking not 1, not 2, probably about 5 Blue Moons on Sunday night. Had Sunday night baseball. It was nice to have a day game so you can just enjoy that Sunday night baseball with some Blue Moons with its refreshing flavor, Valencia orange peel for a subtle sweetness and hints of coriander, Blue Moon Belgian style wheat ale is a one-of-a-kind beer that's just made brighter. It's carefully crafted and full-flavored with refreshing notes and a smooth, creamy finish. Blue Moon was brewed by baseball to give you a dose of nostalgia and get you excited for the new season. Why strike out with the same old beer when you can get something that's one of a kind? Its bold flavor, bright explosion of color, and iconic orange slice ritual guarantees a one-of-a-kind beer experience perfect for spring weather. Best served with its signature orange garnish to showcase its beautiful bright color. A beer this good only comes around once in a blue moon, but you can enjoy it all season long. Bring the ballpark to you with Blue Moon Belgian style wheat ale. It's a one-of-a-kind every time. Check out shop.bluemoonbrewingcompany.com for beer and baseball merch, or visit get.bluemoonbeer.com/rocket to find Blue Moon delivery options. That is get.bluemoonbeer.com/rocket. Blue Moon made brighter. Celebrate responsibly. Blue Moon Brewing Company, Golden, Colorado. Ale. The Mariners and Astros went head-to-head for the first time since their playoff showdown, in which the Houston Astros dismissed the Seattle Mariners from postseason play in 3 games. The star of the weekend, Bryce Miller. He went in the finale. This young man who is 24 years of age, a little righty, was
little
Texas
righty?
A&M. Huh?
Yeah, he's not a little righty. He's he might be a
6'2",
slender
180, but I'm saying he's Texas A&M kid, and in 2 big league starts, 12 innings, 4 hits, just 1 earned run, has not allowed a homer, has only walked 1 batter compared to 15 strikeouts, the 0.42 whip, and an 0.75 ERA. And he went up against a big bad Houston Astros lineup on Sunday and was dealing. It was a deal fest from him in a rubber match between the Mariners and the Houston Astros. So big series for the Mariners. Julio Rodriguez went deep. But they're actually even in the standings now. That was a big series for Seattle.
Bryce Miller is going to be a huge impact for this team.
He's a guy.
He's a huge impact. And there's a couple things that I saw in his game against us, and that I was like, I think this could be problematic for us in the future. I think this guy's a little too poised. I think he's a little too cool, calm, and collected for my liking. I think he understands what he's wanting to do out there. And I don't think he's afraid of his shit either. And I don't think he's afraid of anybody in the box either. Those are issues for me when I'm looking at a young guy in our division that is not on our team. Because those ingredients, you put those together and you get a big old fuck you pie. Because that's what he's got. He's got some fuck you in there. And when you look at the numbers, and you kind of went over the command, right? In 12 innings, 1 walk, 1. This is his second big league start. You love to see that. That tells you that I am not afraid to attack the strike zone. Well, what reinforces that? The 12 strikeouts. But just listen to these numbers regarding the command of his secondary stuff. Again, second big league start. He's got 2 under his belt. 74% strikes with the fastball. 87% strikes with the curveball. 66% strikes with his slider. He's thrown 2 changeups. One of them for a strike. But when you think about a rookie, game 2, still just trying to get used to the names on the back of the jersey, the third deck, blah, 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 all the shit that comes along with getting your feet wet. All that's a non-factor for this dude. A complete non-factor. He's ready to fucking roll. And for the Mariners, you throw another young arm in that rotation. That's just one more of these dudes that, and I know this vibe, man. I know this vibe. You get 3 or 4 of us, roughly around the same age, roughly around the same sort of prospect status before coming into the big leagues. We're going to look at ourselves.
2015 Mets, Dallas? 2015 Mets action happened in Seattle?
It's a fuck. Hey, I can't say star-studded just yet, but they have got some strong arm talent. Strong arm talent.
I mean, like a couple of those guys, like Logan Gilbert and who's the other one I'm blanking
Kirby?
on?
George Kirby.
Yeah. George Kirby. They were, I mean, amongst the, I don't want to say like top favorites, but they were in the conversation for Cy Young at the beginning of the year.
Sure. These dudes are fucking nasty. Nasty. And they got dudes down in the bullpen that are fucking nasty too.
Yeah.
They've
got a lot. They've got a lot of firepower in that bullpen.
Yeah. And look, we always, I hate that the conversation, I think inevitably goes back to having lost Robbie Ray and what that could potentially mean for him, because they're going to have to figure out a way to plug that hole. But right now, you've got Bryce Miller who has stepped up. And I mean, dude, you're not even, we haven't even mentioned Luis Castillo in this group, right? Like that's the fucking front line. That's the headliner. And we're talking about Logan Gilbert and George Kirby and the arrival of Bryce Miller. You got Luis Castillo anchoring this rotation.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's why when like you mentioned like Robbie Ray going down, I was like, well, that's not the worst thing. Like they've
Don't
got
talk shit about Robbie Ray, bro. Honestly, I'll leave.
Bro,
I'll leave the podcast.
Realistically,
I'll leave the call.
If they make the playoffs, it's just he was not getting the start last season in the playoffs. So if they make it this year, he probably wasn't going to get a start this year if they're healthy.
Mm-hmm.
Like he's their 4th best starter at best.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think it's that big of a loss.
Do you realize what you're saying?
Young Award in the
Thank you.
What am I saying?
You're saying that you're saying that our Cy Young Award winner is not going to be in the conversation for one of the 3 starts that we would need to win in a division series. Do you believe that?
Start him
I'm not calling you an idiot for that, but right now, a healthy Robbie Ray, because if a healthy Robbie Ray is performing anywhere near one of those other arms that we just mentioned, are you as quickly dismissing Robbie Ray as a potential start candidate? Because he does. Because if you've got a guy that's competing in the same realm as those dudes, and he has the Cy Young under his belt, he has the season that he had under his belt, you're still just thinking like, nope, not even an option. Give it to Kirby. Give it to Bryce.
I don't
Miller.
think it's not an option conversation. I think he's clearly the 4th best starter on this team, given what we've just laid out. And I'm confident in it because they had this situation play out in the DS last year and didn't give him the ball. And he was not very good in the wild card start against the Blue Jays either. So
no, he was not.
Yeah, no, I would. We're all on the same page that Castillo is the clear 1, and I think Kirby and Gilbert are 2 and 3 clearly in that conversation. But maybe I'm wrong.
Well, no. I mean, I think it's fair to say that come postseason time, Castillo and some combination of Gilbert, Kirby, Bryce Miller, whatever, like those are probably your options, right? I don't know how much consideration Marco Gonzalez is going to be getting at that point in time. He's probably going to find himself in the bullpen.
He's not been terrible.
No, he's not. He's not. Look, I mean, you don't. So I'm the last.
He's
dude
got a 4.70 ERA and a 3.96 FIP. Like that's not bad.
I'm the last dude you have to convince on Marco Gonzalez's viability. I am the last dude on planet Earth.
Well, you said he sucked earlier.
Really not even close to that.
Yeah, you did. So the combination of Bryce Miller, Luis Castillo, George Kirby, and Logan Gilbert, those 4 guys have a 3.87 ERA, a 3.21 FIP, a 1.16 WHIP, and an 8.20 strikeouts per 9, which is fine. But 15 quality starts between the 4 of them. Somehow a record of 9 and 7. But yeah, this 179 innings pitched and a 387 between those 4 starters. And obviously, like Bryce Miller has only made 2 starts, but
I feel like there is a lot more interesting pitching in the AL West than there was like 2 or 3 seasons ago. And Houston's kind of its own thing, but and the names have changed, but mostly Texas and Seattle are carrying the load. But as we've laid out, it's not just them. Like Oakland's got a guy or 2. I mean, even Patrick Sandoval is like interesting by the standards of what the Angels have contributed to the division over the last 4 or 5 years. You know what I mean? I just think there's, in terms of quantity, there are more interesting arms coming out of the AL West than there have been in a long time.
Yeah. And the Rangers, I know this is a completely separate thought because we've been talking about the Mariners, but the Rangers are for real. Like,
Well,
I know that we can joke about the Pittsburgh Pirates, but obviously there's going to be major regression there. But what the Pittsburgh Pirates have done is, I don't want to like slap my guarantee on sustainability there, but I feel like the Texas Rangers have a team that is kind of built
right
to stick around.
You're right.
When I was looking at storylines prior to the start of this podcast, that was one of the things I wrote down that I wanted to make sure that we discussed, is that the Rangers are up to a plus 85 run differential, which is 65 runs better than the next closest team in the West.
And let me tell you why they are
please do.
the way they are right now. There's a player on this team that I have been watching for many years. And well, I should say multiple years. We had him. And there was, discussions. We had multiple catchers at the time. Organizations do. You're making your decision on what the depth behind a Sean Murphy at the time looked like. And there was a name, Austin Allen. There was another name, Jonah Heim. And Jonah Heim has been outstanding behind the plate, and he has been outstanding at the plate as well. You're talking about a switch hitting, power hitting catcher who at the moment, I believe, is like second or third in the team in home runs, second or third in the team in RBIs, somewhere around there. I think he's hitting over 300, OPS over 900. Like, he's fucking swinging it right now. And they need this kind of lineup right now. You're getting that from Heim. You're getting viable production from Josh Young. And then about the other guys in this lineup. So I look at Jonah Heim, though, as a guy in this lineup that adds length to it that I don't think people identify right off the bat as the guy who is adding length to the lineup. Because you look at the health of some other guys in this lineup, and I think that's where your eyes go, and that's where you think the responsibility goes. And I understand that, but that's why I wanted to make sure that people have an idea of what Jonah Heim is doing, because that is really, really fucking important for this team.
And just to reiterate, they're doing this without the guy who was assumed to be their best offensive player and the guy who was projected to have one of the largest increases or benefits from the removal of the shift of any batter in baseball in Corey Seager. So really intrigued by what they could be when they get hit.
Their whole lineup is going off right now. If you look at just their OPS plus going down the list, it's like it's 7 out of 9 guys with an OPS plus over 100, which is like well over 100, 115 or above. I don't know if there's another team like that. It's like every single person's hitting.
Well, and remember last year, it took Marcus Semien until June. Was it May or June to hit his first homer?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it was a grand slam against, that's right, the fucking Oakland A's. And I think he's had like 5 or 6 homers this year, but just little stuff like that helps this look the way it does right now.
But to me, that almost is a bad thing for them personally, because that just, to me, that means they have a lot of room.
Is half of their $500 million infield?
No, I'm just saying, like, the fact that 8 out of 9 guys are hitting well above average, like, that's not going to continue. And a lot of these guys are people you wouldn't ever, maybe don't even know. Like, you ever heard of Ezekiel Duran? I haven't personally.
But that's
maybe I'm a loser. I'm an idiot.
But that's you for sure.
But compared to the Pirates, who they're overachieving, but they got a lot of guys underperforming, and they're still doing it. So I'm looking forward, like, they could get hot, they can do good. Where I'm looking at the Rangers, like, they really kind of only have one way to go in terms of their offense.
Well, and I think that's doubly true. We can be optimistic about the Rangers and still acknowledge what Joey's talking about too, because situationally, they've also, unless you believe that the Rangers are like much, much better at hitting with runners in scoring position than every other team in baseball this year, which I don't think they are. They've gotten very beneficial in those scenarios too. They're hitting 338 with runners in scoring position. The next closest team is 289. Their OPS is 951 in those scenarios. The next closest team is 873. So,
but
even if they're
isn't this what we know about baseball? we know that you're gonna have moments like this. Like there's lulls, there's peaks and valleys, and
sure.
we like. It's not a lazy question to ask because you do have to ask it, but I think it just kind of spurs along further assessment when you ask it, which is this sustainable? And I think we ask that rhetorically, knowing that it's not. But what you have to remember is that teams that have the smallest gap in between runs like this, and then those moments where they sort of come back down to earth, that's what separates teams. And in those moments where they're excelling and performing beyond their potential production, what do the other players who aren't performing at that time, what does that look like? Are they taking away so greatly from the moment that it's affected, or is it really a non-factor? And right now you're watching the Pirates go through one of those downturns where things were as good as they could have been, and now they're not as good as they could have been. And what happens when they're not as good as they could have ever been? Well, you lose baseball games. And that's how shit goes. And you're watching one team experience the highs of productivity across the board, and you're experiencing one team watching them experience the lows of that.
That puts a bow on the Texas Rangers. But there was one guy in particular that I did want to hit on. The Rays wanted to hit on him too, but he hadn't given up a home run all year. So I figured if we were going to talk about pitchers that hadn't given up homers all year, once they finally do, that's newsworthy, is it not?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So Gerrit Cole was pitching against the Tampa Bay Rays yesterday in another rubber match between. I know that normally we try to talk about the teams that are in contention, but unfortunately the Yankees are in last place in the American League East. But they were playing the best team in baseball. That would be the Tampa Bay Rays, and Gerrit Cole was at the time having a good season. He was handed a 6-0 lead on Sunday, and that's kind of where it all unraveled for the burly right-hander. And the Rays were able to scratch across 6 runs, only 5 earned, fortunately enough, in a game that they would go on to win in walk-off fashion in extra innings. Therefore, the Yankees dropped the series to Tampa in Tampa. So I just had to note that because, we're talking about someone wanted to come at Joey a few episodes ago because Shohei hadn't given up a home run. And they were like, well, you didn't mention Gerrit Cole as someone that hadn't given up a home run. Well, he gave up 2 and blew a 6-0 lead in a game that the Yankees had to have. They had to have that game.
Thank you, Jared, because I didn't want to say that because people come after me. They say, oh, you only talk about Gerrit Cole and he gets shit on. So thank you for bringing that up because I was too scared to bring it up.
Yeah, and I mean I've been fair all along with Gerrit Cole this season because I saw, these fucking idiot Yankee fans were like, "Oh, Gerrit Cole was dominating all year, and you never wanted to bring him up until you had one bad start." And I'm like, no. I've given Cole his flowers on this podcast, on Twitter. I've tweeted out statistics. I've sung his praises on this show, but just the same way that Dallas does with the Pirates. If you're going to talk about them when they're good, then you have to talk about them when they're bad. And I've talked about Gerrit Cole when he's been good. And man, blowing a 6-0 lead is that's bad. That's not good. It's definitely not good. Under no circumstances, under no microscope could you spin that into a way where it's good. Especially when you gave up 2 homers when you're someone that's never given up a home run all season. To give up 2, that's bad. To give up a 6-0 lead, that's bad. But yeah, congratulations to the Tampa Bay Rays on winning yet another series. They we keep saying when are they going to regress? When are they going to come back down to earth? The answer maybe never. Have they lost double-digit games yet? They have not. They are 28-7.
They could very well go 2 months without losing double-digit games.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, like no one's even fucking close right now. Like if you were to go to the next best team in baseball, it's the Atlanta Braves, and they're 4 games back of the Tampa Bay Rays. Like, am I regretting my decision to not
Oh yeah, you are for sure.
switch to the
For
Rays.
sure.
Yeah, I'm regretting that now. I'm regretting that now.
Yeah, that's a done deal. That bed was made a while ago.
You
Yeah.
think it's a done deal?
What do you mean?
The Baltimore Orioles are 5.5 games back, and they're in second place in the division.
Yeah, I think it's a done.
Mm-hmm. The Orioles would be in first place in any other division in baseball except.
You know
for
what's
NL
funny?
East.
Looking at the projections, is the Rays have a 71% chance to win the division, and that's the same. And the Twins also have a 71% chance to win their division. Those two teams have the same chance to win their division.
I don't trust that stuff.
It's just funny.
That doesn't make
it's just
sense.
funny. The Twins played such a shit division. They're so much worse and still have the same odds than the Rays, who haven't lost yet.
Does not make sense.
Life is sweet.
If you want to go down to Tampa and check out Randyland, which is their new section, I believe it's stupid. It's only on Friday nights. Like in St. Louis, you can go sit in Big Mac Land any night that you want. But if you want to sit in Randyland in Tampa, it's only on Friday nights at the Trop. But anyway, buying tickets to your favorite events shouldn't be stressful. Game Time is the fast and easy way to buy tickets to all sports, music, comedy, and theater near you with killer deals on last-minute tickets and their best price guarantee. You can stop stressing over the tickets and start getting hyped for all the fun that you'll have. I'm actually, I know I say that I'm going to travel places and go to different ballparks, but I really do want to see the Trop. I really do want to see the Trop. I know that a lot of people shit on it. They say that it's a terrible place to see a ball game. Dallas, how would you grade your experience at the Trop?
At the Trop, I've always had great experiences. They have a fucking fish tank there. So you're going to win me over with a fish tank. And if you let me play with your fish in the fish tank, you're definitely going to win me over. So I'm a fan of the Trop. I've performed decently at the Trop. I don't mind the Trop. I appreciate it for its dingy glory.
Okay.
Terrible place to try to catch a fly ball.
The roof is the same color as the baseball.
It's impossible. It is like you could legitimately stand there and have somebody throw the ball up and be like, oh, fuck, where's it at? Oh, there it is.
Dallas
so I couldn't
Braden
imagine
at Tropicana Field.
Yeah.
So we're going to fact check this. He said he was good there.
Dude, it's so funny. I was literally doing the same thing. It's not great.
Dallas Braden.
He was not that
Tropicana
effective.
Field. Oh my God, you sucked. 22 innings, a 4.91 ERA. What are you talking about?
Outfielders can't see the ball. What do you think's going to happen?
12 strikeouts in 22 innings, 23 hits in 22 innings, 12 earned runs.
Actually, this is pretty good for Dallas.
Yeah. How many home runs? Only one home run given up? All
Who
right.
did they give it up to?
I don't know. Probably BJ Upton.
I don't know. When you played, it was probably like Greg Vaughn.
Greg Vaughn.
You know what I thought?
Fred McGriff.
Maybe I thought that because I came into
Fred McGriff.
Fred McGriff.
Giving up to Wade Boggs.
Well, I remember an outing. We had just left home and flown to Boston.
I'm going to find it.
And I legitimately landed in Boston, opened my phone, and found out that my grandma was in the hospital. And the messages were, you should get on a plane and come home. And so I was like, well, motherfuck. So I legit got off of our team plane and had a car take me to Logan so that I could get on a flight and turn around and fly right back home. Flew home, spent time with my grandma. And then the next start I made was in Tampa. And we were wearing fucking throwback jerseys too. And I was about as unhappy as I could have been because I didn't like the fucking big awkward jersey a la Chris Sale. And I was just fucking not happy, not in a great headspace. And I think I pitched well that game. So I think that's probably the game that I'm thinking about that makes me think I pitched well in that building when I probably didn't.
Well,
you didn't.
Let me just clarify.
You definitely didn't.
Is that 2009?
No, I
I
was
don't
just going
know.
to say the home run came against Jason Bartlett.
Yeah.
Fellow
MVP
209.
votes.
Just helping the stats. Just helping the stats.
Yeah, but no big deal. It was only a 2-2 game in the bottom of the sixth. That made it 3-2.
Oh.
You guys lost.
Oh, yeah, no
Oh.
problem. See,
You blew it.
let the bullpen.
But
do it.
anyways, Game Time is the place for last-minute ticket deals. Forget planning months in advance. Game Time has deals on tickets right up to the day of the event. Get exclusive flash deals on tickets for football, basketball, baseball, concerts, comedy, theater, and more. The Game Time guarantee means that you'll always get the best price. If you find tickets in the same section and row for less, Game Time will credit you 110% of the difference. Get images of your seat before you buy, so you know exactly what to expect when you arrive. Buy tickets in a matter of seconds, 2 taps, and you're set. Tickets are sent directly to your phone, so you never have to dig through your email. Snag the tickets without the stress with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, use the promo code Jared, Jared, for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem with promo code Jared for $20 off. Download the Game Time app today. Last minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed. Yeah, Dallas, that was
How many starts
Not
did I make in
good.
Tampa?
4.
4. I'm looking at. See, I went back to 2009.
Uh-huh.
That's when I was I think that's what I was talking about. So
Yeah.
like in
Yeah,
May.
you made 2 of them in 2000. Yeah, 4 total, 2 of which came in 09.
Mm-hmm.
09
Got
was
taken
decent.
to the woodshed. 1 start at Fenway. Fucking 3 1/3, 6 hits, 4 earned.
Yeah, I had a 104-degree temperature that day.
Mhm.
Oh,
There's always an
God.
excuse. I'm sick.
Yeah.
Grandma's sick. Fucking.
No excuse.
You
I
ever
took
just-
the ball. I took
July
the ball.
26th
No
at
excuse.
Maybe you
Yankee
shouldn't.
Stadium, 5 2/3, 10 hits, 7 earned. July 16th at home against the Angels, 5 innings, 10 hits, 6 earned.
Mm.
May
When was this? What
16th
year?
on the road in Comerica,
Mhm.
5 innings, 9 hits, 6. I'm just reading box
That
scores
was when
from
he got sent
2009.
down on his birthday. Oh, yeah. You definitely.
No,
This is impressive because it's
That
very
was-
hard to hit a home run at
that was
Comerica. And
09.
Dallas,
or 08.
Dallas gave up 6 home runs in 4 starts at Comerica.
2 to the same
That's
guy.
the most home runs you
2
allowed
to the
at any
same guy
ballpark.
in the
Obviously,
same inning.
Most
Maglio
home runs ever
Ordonez.
allowed at Comerica history.
that's impressive.
Yeah, you
That's
can't.
actually impressive.
You can't do that all your own either. I blame Wilson Contreras.
Yeah. Yeah. You big control guy because he hit 7 batters in Oakland naturally. Like that's where you pitch the most, but never hit more than 1 batter in any ballpark outside of Oakland.
Did balk 3 times total in your career, though. Wish you
Yeah.
could have those back.
Mm-hmm. In Seattle
Fluky.
too.
Fluky.
9 wild pitches.
No,
You were
that's all
asked
Suzuki.
to intentionally walk 2 batters in Seattle. Do you know who you were asked to intentionally walk?
Oh, in Seattle.
Who did
no,
Bob
maybe
Guerin say, hey,
Maybe
Dallas
Beltre?
got no shot against this guy. Put him
Try
on.
Jay Buhner.
Maybe Beltre?
Beltre could be a guy. Was Nelson Cruz there at the time? No.
Yeah, Nelly.
No, he would have been in Texas, though.
Felix Fermin.
Well, I saw him in Texas too.
Yeah. You ever getting a dust up with Bob Guerin when he told you to put someone on and you said, Skip, I got this one? He said, I know for a fact you don't.
No, because as you can see, that didn't happen very often.
Like, I've seen you pitch, sir. You do not have this.
Yeah, you don't got this.
No, that didn't happen.
That's why they need fucking Bob Guerin in St. Louis, because he'll have pieces of shit players like Dallas that think that they can get guys out, and he'll just tell them straight up, like, you ain't got it. Put them on. That's what you need Bob Guerin for. Put
that
guys
will
on.
not happen. That may have been the problem. That will not happen.
Yeah.
Are you guys not intentionally walking enough people? It's time for Bob
Yeah.
Guerin.
Yeah.
It's time to bring
Yeah,
in
you
Bob.
get Bob Guerin in that clubhouse. Mhm.
Yeah, I like to run this play where we get 2 outs with 1 pitch. It's high risk. It's high risk. It involves intentionally walking, guys. Are you ready? Hear me out.
Mhm. Yeah.
Bob's tired. He wants to limit the number of pitches. Just double plays.
Yeah. Bob loves traffic. If there's one thing Bob Guerin loves, it is traffic. Because more guys on, more chance to run the double play. People don't think about that enough. People are scared of traffic. Not Bob Guerin. Bob Guerin has like these like summits every offseason where he goes to major highways and has his team stand out in the middle of like major frequented highways, because it's the whole thing is built on we're not afraid of traffic.
Not at all. Not at
yeah. all. One last thing I want to hit on before we get the fuck out of here. If you're a Mets fan, are you well within your right to be concerned about your team?
Well, as the only Mets fan in the podcast, I will answer that for you.
Please.
And I think there's a little bit of concern to be had over things we've already talked about. The guys you rely on, older age. I think getting swept by the Nationals, then did they get...
They just lost the series to the fucking
then they get
Rockies.
hit with the Rockies.
They lost the series 2-1. They were outscored 18-9. The one game that they did win was 1-0. So it's not like they had some offensive outburst in the game that they did win against the Rockies. They won a 1-0 ball game and then were outscored 18-8 the rest of the way.
Here's the thing. I think this applies to the Mets, and it applies to every team that is not the Dodgers and the Braves. All of these other teams are competing in a mass of mediocrity, and I don't know who's going to emerge from that group. Because to me, it applies to all of it. It applies to the Mets. It applies to the Phillies. It applies to the Pirates and Brewers and whatever we think is going to happen to the Central, and it applies to the non-Dodgers teams in the West. Like if there's an NL takeaway 6 weeks into the season, it's that we have two very good teams, and I'm not sure about every single other team in the league.
This will be a good test for the Mets right now because they've got their staff lined up. Scherzer, Verlander, Senga, I believe, going against the Reds right now. So if there was an opportunity for you to get right, there's an opportunity for you to get
but it
back
already
on track.
Started, Dallas. They played the Braves, and then they went into a stretch where they had 3 with the Tigers, and they got swept. Which, by the way, respect the Tigers. Like I had it the other day.
I'm looking forward. I am moving. Okay, that's why I said if there's an opportunity to get right.
You're talking about entering a soft part of the schedule. They're already in it. They got swept by the Tigers. They just lost 2 out of 3 to the Rockies. And now you have the Reds for 3. And then you have the Nats for 4. Before you welcome the Tampa Bay Rays and the Cleveland Guardians and then the Cubs to Queens.
That's point taken. I'm fine giving the Mets a second until we see what Justin Verlander and Max Scherzer, like
healthy,
reeling off a couple of straight starts, looks like. And then if they're still a 500 team or Scherzer still stinks, then it's major panic time.
Yeah, I mean, they had
that is. I just think that's why right now matters. Right, I get that you're saying they're in that soft spot of their schedule. Yes, they are. Right now, today. They will be starting a 3-game series, very important, because they have 1, 2, 3 lined up in the rotation. And I was going to add on to that. They're also going to be facing 2 out of the 3 big guns for the Cincinnati Reds, right? Hunter Green, Lodolo. So you're going to get your tests, I guess, on both sides of the ball. What are we going to see from Scherzer, Verlander, and Senga over these next 3? Against a team that we feel like they should probably handle? And what is our offense going to look like against a couple arms that should probably be higher end arms as we move forward in their careers, will be higher end arms as we move forward in their careers. So sweet spot in the schedule hasn't happened, hasn't worked out. But as we sit today for the New York Mets, you can go into the clubhouse today saying, today's the day we get right. Right now is when it starts. And everything I just said to you is why you can walk in there feeling that way. Game of baseball, Jared, you understand that you got to pick certain dates, right? You got to pick certain moments where you're going to plant the flag and take a stand. It's almost like you look at baseball in cycles, or you look at baseball in segments. Huh? So let's let this be a 3.
Now you're finally coming around. Now you're seeing it.
I just know that you understand this language, so that's why I'm speaking.
Perfect time for
I'd be
Dallas.
so fucking pissed if I like
he
the
was about
Mets
to
right
spew
now.
some bullshit.
Dude, they just because like their schedule has been so easy, and I gotta assume it's never going to be this easy again, especially with the new schedule. If they lost to them, they started 2 weeks ago. They played the Nats, then they played the Braves, then they played the Tigers, and then they just played the Rockies. They went 3-9 against 3 out of 4 of the worst teams in the league. And then you have 2 more series against the Reds and the Nationals. So it gets just as easy. It's almost like a must win. I wouldn't say it's a must win. But if you don't win, you look pretty bad. Kind of like what Jehe was saying. After these 7 games against the Reds and the
Nats.
Nationals, and they're still like where they're at right now, like I would be in Frank the Tank mode. Like I would be already, honestly, but still.
It's bad. It's bad. I mean, that's an off season where there was a lot of hype. I know they didn't end up with Carlos Correa, but it was definitely one of those where it's like,
probably for the best right now.
What's he
Correa's
doing?
playing like dog shit.
Is he?
Yeah, he's got like a 600 OPS.
Ooh.
He would not be helping the cause right now, even if maybe they'll be better if they had him long.
Carlos Correa is hitting a $193 with a 649 OPS.
I just can't get worked up about the Mets anymore until I see a few rotations of Verlander, Scherzer, because that's what this team is built on. That's the whole idea of the pitching side of this team. And we're going to learn a lot in the next 2 weeks as we've laid out. And then it'll be panic time, because then it'll be basically the end of May, and you can really learn a lot about where you are as a team at that point. And if you want to panic about anything, it's that the Braves are so good that the division's out of touch at this point, probably.
Yeah. Joey,
which is
what do you have to
disappointing.
say to the people that are calling the Braves frauds because they're the only team in the division with a positive run
They're
differential?
right. Braves suck. They're frauds. They hit it right on the head. We suck. We just play dog shit teams and we beat them, but Braves are shit.
Hey, win the games you're supposed to, Joe. Win the games you're supposed to.
When 18 out of the 30 teams are no good, you're going to see a lot of teams that are no good on your schedule. That's how the sport works. And those got to win those.
Some teams beat them all. Some teams go 3-12. And that's the difference.
Listen,
That is the difference.
the Cardinals need to sell, burn it down. That applies to like 28 of the teams. There's only 2 good teams in baseball right now. Everything else is just they suck,
down.
and you got to beat those teams.
I get what you mean, Jay, but I honestly have to push back. I think Steve Cohen, it might be time to sell. We could talk.
Yeah,
so?
that's a really good point.
We could talk about this later. We could stick a pin in it, but I think that's a conversation that has to be had one of these days.
I think Oakland. I think the A's go to Vegas. I think the Mets go to Oakland. We just do a little shift around, and everybody's here. We go.
Well, why don't John Fisher? He could have 2 teams. Maybe he buys the Mets, and everyone's happy.
That's a good idea too. John Fisher, 2 teams. Steve Cohen sells. Awesome.
Dallas, any comment on A-Rod potentially buying the Oakland A's?
That would be so cool. Good start with the Minnesota Timberwolves.
I wouldn't know what to do with myself.
I was going to say, what would you do? That's really the question. What would you do if A-Rod bought the A's?
Probably say welcome to your mound.
I would know what to do. Yeah. You know what I would do is day one that he shows up to the ballpark, I would have a red velvet rope ceremony, like where I would welcome him onto the mound. Here, come on in. Welcome. I mean, it's not your home. It's still my home, but you're now welcome.
Well, I mean, you're just a tenant in his home.
No.
Yep. He owns the building. You're just like a
well,
that's
the funny thing about the situation there, Gerrit, is he don't own the building.
Or would you want to?
Yeah.
Another question.
Yeah. I don't know. We'll see. But you'd be lucky to have A-Rod as an owner. I'll say that.
I think it's good. I hope they just keep him on the K-Rod cast, even if he becomes an owner, because taking that away from the fabric of the game would be really too much for me emotionally.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
It'd be a crime.
Yeah.
I want to meet one single person in real life who is tuning in for the K-Rod cast. I've never met a single person. Who is that for? What is that doing?
Is it on ESPN 2 or something?
They're still grinding on the K-Rod
What is
cast.
it? What is it on?
It's the alternative to the Ravi Eduardo Pérez. It's not literally
I know
every
that.
single.
But like, where can you find it?
I don't know, in the garbage can.
Oh,
Wow.
God damn.
Well, I'm going to see Michael
Oh my
K
God!
today.
Like we don't all agree.
I'm on the record as being a Michael K guy. I love Michael.
I don't care about Michael K. That's not what this is about.
This is
I could
about
go
A-Rod.
either way on that. That's fine.
Yeah.
It's
I
the
listen-
A-Rod's like
I
the worst
listen to-
analyst in sports history.
So I like Michael K a lot because he's a big time radio guy in New York that talks about baseball. Here in
Yeah, that's fine.
Boston,
Yeah.
we're told here in Boston that you can't talk about baseball on the radio because no one cares. They'll talk about fucking football when the Celtics are in the finals, and they'll talk about hockey because they have the broadcasting rights. Because they don't have baseball broadcasting rights, they don't give a fuck. And if you look at the roster of radio personalities, it's all left over from Tom Brady. So because the Patriots and football are king in Boston from the Brady days, every personality is football first, and they don't know how to talk baseball. Ever since Lou Merlone got taken off the air, he's the only fucking baseball guy we had, and now he's not on the air, he's doing the broadcast. There's no baseball guys, so they don't talk about baseball.
Which
Michael
is so
K,
funny.
Like, I'll
because-
sit down and listen to the Michael K show because I know that I'm going to get Yankee talk that's objective. Like, he'll shred them, like if they're not playing well, and then he'll talk about baseball on like a broader national scope, and that is just such a foreign concept to any fucking radio personality in Boston. It's crazy.
It's funny that Boston radio is in that position because the Patriots, from like a objective national standpoint, could not possibly be more boring.
They're painfully boring and mediocre. Like, I couldn't give a fuck about the Patriots right now.
Like, honestly,
but that's
like,
all they
roster-
talk about because that's all they know how to
roster-wise,
talk about.
Up and down the NFL, like you'd be hard pressed to find a roster that is less exciting than the Patriots right now. And they got to.
I'm not gonna name names because I don't like pointing people out. But there was a baseball discussion on Boston Sports Radio where they were attempting to criticize Chaim Bloom, and the name Thad Ward got brought up, like someone that was taken out of the Red Sox organization in the Rule 5 draft. And the Rule 5 draft was referred to as the Rule of 5 draft. And Thad Ward's name got brought up. And I was like, who wrote this? I was like, there's no fucking way that you knew who Thad Ward was before today. And you just called the Rule 5 draft the Rule of 5 draft. Like, that's where we're at in terms of our ability to talk about baseball, is like there are behind the scenes like script writers for some of the radio hosts where it's like, we need to attempt to have a baseball conversation today. Like, people are out for blood. We need to at least try. And there's like script writers. Like, that's where we're at.
Sad. Trying to grow the game with the young kids, and we can't even talk on the radio. I mean, it's how are the kids going to get into the sport, dude? Turn on the radio. Come on.
I don't know.
I
I don't know. But that's my final thought. That's my final thought is I am a Michael K guy through and through because he fights the good fight by trying to keep baseball in the forefront on national radio, at least, talking about baseball in the national sense and then the regional sense. So any other
I didn't see
thoughts?
Michael K coming as the final thought from our lead dog.
That's
good
me.
stuff.
That's my final thought. Jay, hey, any final thoughts?
Anybody want to guess the last person that Dallas Braden intentionally walked in his career?
Oh, yes. Raul Ibanez.
No. That's a good guess, though. I like it.
Carlos Ruiz.
No. Also a guess.
I'm gonna guess it was a right-handed hitter, so Ibanez
That's
is not
true.
the best guess. I'm going to say it was Jose Quintana. No, wait, no. Who? Carlos Quentin is I'm thinking. Carlos Quentin. Why did I get those mixed up?
Carlos Quentin for the
Carlos Quentin was the name that I was fishing for in my brain.
That's a great poll. I love a good session of name that guy. The answer is Matt Kemp. Matt Kemp.
Oh, okay. So not like a completely unguessable guy.
No, a guy that
it makes sense.
Maybe was deserving of an intentional walk in this game.
That was peak Matt Kemp in Dodger Stadium.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's exactly right. So that's my final thought.
Before he was Fat Kemp.
Yeah. That was actually the game that I got down a successful sacrifice bunt against Clayton Kershaw. You're right. That's right.
Oh.
You're welcome.
Pitchers can't do that nowadays. Lost start.
Yeah. No, I don't. We didn't win that game, did we?
I'm going to go ahead and play the numbers. Say no, you didn't. No, you did not. Lost in extras, 5-4.
Uncle, I think I pitched.
You had a nice start though. You had a nice start. You did just fine. If you're a me guy, if you're kind of into like what did I do
for sure,
you did fine. 6 innings pitched, 2 earned.
Okay,
yep.
All right, good. Nothing I could do. I mean, fuck.
Nope. I mean, Kershaw allowed 0, but you did your best.
Okay, that's true. Always do my best.
Oh yeah, we got to do our picks.
Oh, well, I can start.
Diamondbacks minus 1.5. They're playing the Marlins today. Bad mix for the Marlins. I have a feeling their offense stinks. They're up against Zach Gallen, 0.84 ERA over his last 32 innings, 47-1 K to walk. Arizona's averaging 7.4 runs per game over their last 8. Meanwhile, the Marlins average 3.3 runs per game overall this season. That's last in Major League Baseball. They also have a 648 OPS against right-handed pitchers. That's 27th. I'm going D-backs minus 1.5.
Wow. That's a pick.
Mine's easy.
What is
Esty to steal a bag.
Okay.
Very simple. Very simple. I told you everything you need to know about his base running prowess at the beginning of the podcast. If you've forgotten, he leads everybody and everything when it comes to stolen bases. So he will be swiping a bag. Go ahead and book that.
For me, I'm predicting a big week for the Mariners. I think the Mariners right now, I think they're 4th place. End of the week, this time next week, they'll be in 2nd place. And I think they beat the Texas Rangers tonight. So just take the money line. Minus 170. Seattle Mariners.
Minus.
Ooh.
But it's a parlay, so you throw it in there, you know?
Fuck it. It's a parlay.
Yeah, I mean, the idea is to make money, Joe.
Yeah, I mean, I say minus 170. That you're like, well, why would you do that? I mean, but parlay, parlay.
Yeah, I mean,
you don't want to take all. You don't want to be too risky. Every bet.
When you parlay, you parlay. I can't say it any better myself.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Who are the A's playing tonight?
Take
the
Yankees,
other team. Nestor Cortez on the mound.
Oh. Nasty
right.
Nestor.
You take a look at the first
what's the A's money line like? Plus 800, plus 900?
You take a look at the first 3-4 hitters in this A's lineup against left-handers. You ain't gonna be talking that shit.
Yeah.
So,
I'm
it's all good. It's all good. Ruiz, easy. It's an easy call. Estuary Ruiz is stealing a bag tonight. It's happening.
Do I like Brent Rooker against Nasty Nestor?
You love Brent Rooker against Nasty Nestor. You mean the guy who's got the highest OPS in baseball? That Brent Rooker? Yeah.
Yeah, but all right. So Brent Rooker has a 750 slug against lefties, and he's going up against Nestor. So I'm gonna go Brent Rooker. Do I want 2+ total bases, or do I want to play it safe and to say Brent Rooker to get a hit?
Get a hit. First of all, never bet a guy outside of his time zone. That's rule number 1. That's rookie shit. But if you're gonna, just go for a hit.
I'm gonna do Brent Rooker to get a hit against Nasty Nestor. Brent Rooker this season, a 750 slugging percentage. He's hitting 321 with an 1144 OPS against left-handed pitching.
Zach Gallen getting dragged down by two Oakland associated bets on this parlay.
Is Jake in the parlay?
The Red Sox are off tonight, so I'm going to sit this one out.
Okay.
Thank God.
Dodged one there. Yeah.
The Red Sox are playing good ball right now.
A
Jake.
collective
That's true.
God
8 of 9.
from the
8 of
pod.
9. 8 of 9.
Yeah. Yeah.
Guardians,
They've-
Jays, and Phillies too. Real teams.
Yeah.
I'm on the Red Sox. I'm following. I got you.
Yeah. We got a good club. We're not here for the bullshit this year.
No.
All right. Send in that parlay. We'll put it out. We'll retweet it. Get in on the action. DraftKings Sportsbook. If you listen to the podcast too late to put it in for Monday, I believe we're going to be doing this every Monday. So check social media if you are looking to ride with the Baseball is Dead Monday parlay. We'll put it out on social, presumably before the podcast comes out. So you won't have to scramble last minute to get that in. Anyways, any other final thoughts before we get out of here?
Yeah. I'm going to take this time to address the passing of one of the game's most exciting talents from the moment he burst onto the scene to the minute he retired. This dude had fan bases all over the place, falling in love with the Oakland A's. And it wasn't just because he had a sweet fucking name and wore his first name on the back of his jersey. It was because he literally burst onto the scene. Before he won the Cy Young and the MVP in the same season, he had exactly 10 starts under his belt as a starting pitcher. He had pitched in exactly 18 baseball games before the 1971 season, in which he led the league in ERA with a 1.82. He had 8 shutouts that year. 8 shutouts. He won 24 games. You want to know how many of those were complete games? 24 of them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Vita Blue was the motherfucking man. And don't ever forget it. Fun little trivia question for you folks at the bar. Who was the last American League, or who was the last switch hitter to win MVP? That man's name is Vita Blue. There's just, you want to talk about a lifetime of incredible stories and occurrences. And I mean, and I said this on air the other day. I think it was yesterday, actually. I wish I had stories that I could share with Vita or about Vita. Some of the funniest stuff that I have to share are things that that I'm not going to say publicly. This dude was, even as he got older, just a shit talker in the best way possible. Like when you have that friend in your group who just fires arrows and embarrasses everybody, and everybody loves that like that was Vita. That was Vita. Just the warmest heart, and you can feel and see the impact that a person makes or has, really, when you hear other people speak about them. And I called my man Stu, Dave Stewart, and like I know I'm not putting Stu on blast when I say this, but like it took a lot for Stu to be able to put words together when I started talking about how much I care for him and how much I know he's hurting right now. And you could just hear in his voice what Vita meant to him, to guys like Shooty Babbitt, to guys like Reggie Jackson. Like all of these guys just espouse a level of love and thankfulness for Vita that I'm very fortunate to have just really heard and shared their emotion on this. And as somebody who, Vita spent time and lived in the 209 for a while, and spent time in the Bay Area, so just being able to hang out with the dude and talk to the guy is it's just one of those things that you wake up and you pinch yourself when you realize that you had that opportunity in life. And again, the stories and the sentiments echoed by everybody who was privileged enough to be around him really, really drives home the human being, aside from the ridiculous statistical, just the number. Like, Vida, you're missed, man. You will be missed. We love you. The A's love you. Baseball loves you. Kansas City did a great tribute to him, and I know it happened in many other places across baseball. So it was a sad day for the Oakland A's, sad day in baseball, but a life that should be absolutely acknowledged and celebrated, not just in Oakland, but across the baseball landscape. And it was really cool to see.
All right.
We
will.
No.
Okay, bye.